Before we begin mixing the tracks we have so far, let's first talk a little bit of theory. The real purpose of a mix is that each instrument can be clearly heard so that we can pinpoint each instrument to a specific area. This is called space design, and two of the most important features that we will be discussing first is volume and pan. So first, imagine that you were at a concert and the band was on stage, and the drummer is in the middle, the guitarist is sitting on his shoulders, and the bass player is sitting on the guitar's shoulders, and the singer is somehow squeezed in between all three of them. And they were all trying to squeeze and fight over one microphone, which is connected to a speaker that has two soundproof walls on either side of it so that the sound only goes in one direction. Well, not only does this look ridiculous, but it'll most likely sound really weird, which is why it's very important to understand volume and pan, because what we're really doing is creating a space that follows the rules of sound perception, which our ears have grown accustomed to ever since we were born. So first, let's look at volume or gain. Our senses are based heavily on perception. How can we tell something is big? Well, by putting something very small next to it. Same with volume. Loudness is a perception. One instrument can sound loud if it's next to an instrument that sounds soft. Now, this sounds very basic and very simple, but actually the most common mistake when working with volume is to continuously turn the volume up to make an instrument louder. Then you have to turn other instruments up because it gets overshadowed by the previous instrument, and the cycle repeats itself until you find yourself maxing out and seeing red on the master volume. It's better to create the perception of being loud by turning down the volume of the other instruments. If the other instrument is still overshadowed, there are many techniques to overcome this. Second most common would be panning. Panning is creating perception horizontally. Our ears have been trained ever since we were born to perceive the center as being louder than left and right. Panning is also the easiest and cleanest method to create space for two instruments that are sharing the same frequency ranges, and I will talk about frequency ranges in greater detail in the EQ section. You'll remember when we were creating our library, we created all the instruments in mono for the purpose of panning. This way we can pinpoint an instrument to an exact spot in our horizontal space. If we did everything in stereo, it would be very confusing on our ears. So just remember, when working with volume and pan, we are creating a vertical and horizontal space that follows the rules of perception. And I have attached a PDF file in the next part, which explains in greater detail of the usual placements of common instruments when doing space design.